Thank you so much for being here. So I wanted to start with you, Sanam, because as I said, the women's movement in Iran against when Mahsa Amini was killed, the Women Life Freedom caught the world's attention. The Western media and other media described it as this absolute watershed moment. Is it really that in Iran's internal life, and what makes it so?
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here. It's my first time in India, so it's a delight to be here with you. Yes, it is a watershed moment, not because it's the first time that we see in the world that women are leading a revolution. We've seen women in Yemen and Sudan and other places being at the forefronts of revolutions against dictatorships. What's extraordinary about what's happening in Iran is that it is the culmination of 3 generations, so my mother's generation, my generation, and now it's the age of my daughters and younger even, coming into the streets. And what's really extraordinary is that the unifying message is a feminist message, women, life, freedom. It's about women's rights. And what we're seeing for the first time, I think in the history of the world actually, is that men are standing shoulder to shoulder with women, together fighting. And this clarion call of women, life, freedom has unified people across geography and across economic divisions and across, as I say, gender and religion and so forth. So that's what makes it a watershed moment. And when you have 10-year-olds supporting it, you don't change their mind to go backwards. So I think that's why the regime has a challenge on its hands.
So very quickly, Sanam, because I want to bring everyone else in, that at the center of this is the idea of the hijab, and we have this image on screen, which is the stereotype of what Muslim women are really experiencing. So how do you and Iranian women see the hijab, and what is it really a metaphor for?
So a couple of things. If I go back to my grandmother's generation, Reza Shah, the Shah's father, deliberately made the hijab illegal. In 1979, they made the hijab imposed. I think fundamentally what Iranian women, and I would say that I work with women in 40 countries around the world, what we're saying is, leave us alone. We make the choices for ourselves. My body, what I wear, how I deal with my reproductive rights, etc. These are all choices that we make for ourselves. And there are 2 factors. One is, we want to have the right not to just be focused on ourselves, because I think that's a distraction. We want to be able to deal with peace and security and environmental issues and the big issues out there, like men do, and that's my work. And the second thing is that the hijab has been both a symbolic and a physically oppressive garb. Women in Iran have pushed it back over the last 40 years. It started very tight and it's now gone back. But it's also still the tip of the iceberg, because really what matters is changing the legal framework and changing the laws which make me, for example, half a witness in a court, for example, right? So it's really shifting the laws to bring genuine equality across the board.